Hey, welcome to the Dear Creator YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, hey, I am Danny Daniela, and this is the platform that I use to express my experience here on earth. There are a lot of different perspectives that I gain. There are a lot of different experiences that I want to share. Some of them are joyful and fun. There are things I'm into, and some of them get so deep and so okay. And I just thought that maybe someone might find benefit in me being who I am on camera and sharing the things that I do share on camera with you all as relates to the different parts that I live in this life. Being a mom, being a lover, a friend, a family member, a coworker, a citizen, and just bringing it back to very simple concepts that I believe power me through as it relates to the way that we speak and the decisions that we make, and it's the way that we feel and express ourselves. Sometimes I'll get it right and sometimes I'll get it wrong, but my primary goal is for us to practice all of the things. Practice listening, practice expressing, practice being what we say we want to see in this world. So with all that being said, I wanted to share with you all something I recently experienced in the month of July and my takeaways from it. And if you notice by the title, I have experienced the fast for 30 days. And I want to make it clear that in the title, it says that for 21 days, it was a water fast. And that's because the way that I designed the fast initially was that I was going to do 15 days of water. And then the next 15 days is when I was going to just do juicing and fruits and vegetables. But getting to this fast initially was something that I struggled with. And one of the reasons why I'm even telling people about this fast is because all of the questions that I had about all the things that's happened in the world, all of the things that were happening in my personal and spiritual life, and just how the information about fasting just wasn't readily available to me as someone who not only grew up in church, but even embarked on different spiritual journeys to find whatever answers I was looking for. So one of the things that kept coming up in my mind was spiritual warfare and the things that are happening in this world where we don't have answers to. But what the word tells us is that we will be able to move mountains based off of the faith that we have, the type of faith that we have. So I had this question, but I'm not the only person that had this question. My son had the question, and it was so interesting how it all came about because this was in the middle of the fast. I'm going to get to the beginning because I want to tell you how I got to the beginning of this fast and actually went through. But somewhere in the middle of the fast, I have the Bible playing when I'm in the car with the children. And sometimes I think they're listening, sometimes they're not. I have no idea, but more times than a few, my oldest is definitely listening. And there's a story being told or an experience that's being shared about Christ talking to a group of people and saying that they didn't have a lot of faith. And if they did have faith, that they would be able to move a mountain. So let me actually bring that up because I don't know, y'all. I use the internet to help me. So this was in Matthew 17:20. It says, "And Jesus said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible to you. Jesus answered and said unto them, verily I say unto you, if ye have faith and doubt not, ye shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree, but also if ye shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed and be thou cast into the sea, it shall be done." And then this is the one that we actually came across. And Jesus answering said unto them, have faith in God. For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatever he saith. And so I just remember, so that's the story that's being told. And then my son goes, so no one has enough faith to solve world peace? And I said, that's a good question. That's a good question. That's a good question. And I said, I don't know the answer to this, but I have the same question. And one of the things that I've struggled with, one of the things that I am working through is just this idea of being on this earth experience, being created and put here on this earth experience, and then having none of the answers, being in a place where everyone thinks that they have the answer, but they're so different from one or the other. And then experiencing that people are so argumentative and they're disputing and they're trying to, prove they're right. And to what avail? And then just having this understanding that there's not supposed to be peace here. The peace is supposed to be within you. It's from Christ. But the actual world is just not supposed to obtain or establish peace. And then this idea of always being tested, always having a trial. I'm not sure if you guys experience this, but it feels like there's always something to be learned on this earth. And so when it came to my personal life, I knew that one of the things that I struggled with, I wanted to conquer, because I have this passion, this new filled passion of really just getting closer to God, and this passion of really trying to understand, and this passion of doing my very best, trying to be someone who contributes. And if I don't contribute with all the things, like if I'm not doing the soup kitchen or I'm not visiting the prison, that I at least contribute by making the best decision as it relates to my household. And that if I at least contribute by the way that I conduct myself and my behavior in the land. So with that being said, I'm trying my best. I'm doing all the things that I think that I should do. And then I'm also coming across other different ideologies and different perspectives, and everyone has it right. And I keep thinking about what people say, and I keep going back to what I have experienced and read in the Bible, and how there's validity in what people are sharing, but there's just so much more that we aren't exploring that I would love to explore. Like I would love to explore pursuit of peace. I would love to explore the fruits of the Spirit. I would love to explore that joy and that undeniable peace in Christ. But it seems like there is a time right now where people just have to argue or dispute or to call someone out to say that they have it wrong and this is why they have it wrong. And I always come back to this moment where I say, like, how do people know that they have it right? And what are everyone just talking to different guys? Why isn't it that we are on one accord? What is the problem? What's the problem? I don't know what the problem is. I have no idea why we just can't keep the two greatest commandments. I think everything falls in line there. What's keeping us from that? Or what's keeping us from practicing that? Why can't we even start there and focus there and then see what comes from that? That's where I sit a lot of the times. And so when I sit there, I usually have a lot of riled up in me. Or does it make sense? I have a lot riled up in me. I have a lot of things going through my mind, and I'm noticing that I'm almost just the same. When I'm like, hey, you over there, you're just being a mean person, and you just need to stop. And I hate it, right? I hate it. I hate that you're arguing. I hate that you're fighting. What are you doing? why can't you just try your best? Why can't you practice? What is wrong? And I get so frustrated, and I'm like, I just want to remove myself from human beings because I feel like it should be simple, and I don't know why we're making it difficult. So with that all being a part of the equation, I'm also thinking about my own life and my own spiritual warfare. And I'm saying, excuse me, Jesus. Why? What is this? What? Why? Stop. Please stop. I don't understand it. I don't want no part of it. I'm done learning lessons. I'm tired. I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. I don't care who say you just can't be happy. I don't care because you have some scriptures in there that tells me that it could be joyful. Okay, that your yoke is easy. I'm looking at those a lot differently than everybody else is looking at them. They're still telling me that you're supposed to have all this struggle, and I don't. I think I had enough. I think when is the dosage over with? Okay, so I knew that I'm going through all of these things in my head, all of these different scenarios and ideas and expression, and I am bringing it to God because literally I have no one else to bring it to. Well, I won't say that completely, but as far as how I'm bringing it, the capacity is not for me to share, over and over and over again, because I'm talking about the same things over and over again. And each time I'm talking about it, I do get a new understanding, but I am talking about the same things over and over again. So this is something I would not want to, share with anyone who might be considered my friend. But I do have, someone I can talk to, love in my life. Okay. And I also have the relationship that I've never had before with the Bible itself and how it becomes alive in my relationship with God. So boom, bam, and bam. I am trying to figure this thing out. And I say, the spiritual warfare part, I need some help, and I know what I'm supposed to do, but for some reason I cannot tap into it. So the spiritual warfare partly is some things that I am trying to work through on my own. I was trying to work through it on my own. I'm glad that I said that. I was initially trying to work through it on my own, but now I'm trying to work through it almost by complaining to God. I don't think I actually prayed about it. At first I was just talking about it, and I'm like, why? And I'm writing out, I'm filling out all the things in my journal, but I don't think I actually positioned myself for an actual prayer. Like, God, I need help with the fact that I want to eat so much food all the time. I think that's a problem. And I'm also trying to figure out why I'm gaining more weight with all this spiritual stress. Like, how can I stop being stressed when I got all this warfare you got me going through over here? And I'm just trying to figure that out. Like, my body is just going to respond the best way it can. I think it's trying to protect me, but honestly, I don't know if it wants the best for me because I keep trying and trying and trying. It's just not working out. So I bring in my therapist to this conversation, and I tell her, like, I know what I have to do. I know that I have to fast and I have to pray, but the fasting part is just every time I try to start, I always think about a reason why I need to eat some food. And I'm also telling her, and she's like completely like, I have not heard this before, but I wonder if you guys have all heard this before. But this is the other thing that I was struggling with. I've noticed, and this is just what I see, but it just seems like when I'm looking at those who are into the faith, following Christ, maybe following the Bible or going to church, that a lot of people are heavy weighted. And I'm thinking, are they heavy in weight because they are going through spiritual warfare and they're stressed out and they want to eat? Are they heavy in weight because, it's just eat, drink, and be merry? Like they got all of the satisfaction in life. And so they just being the good type of fat, that happy weight, right? Is it happy weight? Or is it that they aren't really tapping into fasting in a way that is required of us? And so these are all assumptions I'm making. And I don't want this to be offensive to anyone, because obviously I like the Bible, I like Christ, and I was eating a lot, okay? And I found myself get here in a very subtle way, because once you adopt a lifestyle like being a vegan or plant-based lifestyle, and you get introduced to all these other alternatives, those alternatives look very good and enticing. And so you end up shifting gears if you're not very intentional about the health part, and you're just like, I want to save the animals. So I had found myself in that world, and I also found myself in a world where I thought, hey, maybe I shouldn't eat these things. Maybe I should be eating, eating the chicken and stuff like that. And Lord told me, not me. Y'all can eat it. It just wasn't for me, because first of all, it did feel very like it was an addiction. Like, oh, this chicken tastes good. This chicken is so good. And then it also became something like, this chicken is a little scary. So I'm not sure if I'm making sense. I'm almost about to get to where I wanted to start. And here's where I'm going to start when I talk about the fasting. So I told my therapist that I could not get this fasting because no. This is what happened. She recommended that I do it with someone. And that I do it with someone that, that's not my partner, that because it's easy for us to go like, okay, let's just go eat. But I do it with someone else. And I said, well, I don't have anybody who's interested in God around me like this. Like I'm interested. This is cool to me. This is fun to me. It's also like a little crazy, but I'm still here. And it's just so much going on here. And I don't know if people are like into it that I know. And honestly, I'm not talking to that many people to even be like, hey, let's do this. So I'm all saying all the things against me when I'm on the call, and then it actually ends. And this has happened a lot of times with her. So what happens when I am in my therapy session, I am talking against myself. I'm talking as if I can't think of anyone, and that what was me. And this happens several times, but after the session, it's like as soon as I click off and I'm like, bye, instantly in my head, there's a shift. And I do exactly opposite of what I thought or what I believe, or I go into, whatever, because I'm exploring. And two people come in my mind. And I said, oh, these are people that could fairly do this with me. And it's interesting how it worked out, because I thought that the first person was going to be the one to say, yes, like, let's do it. And I thought the second person, might not even respond to me and take hours to respond to me. And oh, child, I had the complete opposite. And I said, well, this is really interesting. And all I really wanted was a yes. The yes probably was all I ever needed. Even if the person just stopped on day 2 or day 3, like that yes did so much for me. So the first person, I wasn't upset or anything. I just didn't want to put anything on anyone who didn't want to do it. And I received that. And so, but I got the yes that I needed. I'm in this. I want to do this. This is right on time. Those type of yeses are what we desire. If it's a no, if it's a maybe, it's what can I do with that? So we started off really strong, and I was so thankful to get a partner, because 2 is better than 1. And I needed a partner in this capacity, not, the love of my life, not myself. I needed this type of partner. And I will go into this maybe in another video. But she says yes. And we start off, and she's doing a very different version for her 30 days, but I did not care. I was just happy that I had someone to do this with. And so I do want to mention that I'm talking about a fast, and I'm talking about this fast on YouTube out loud. And I wanted to share just the scripture and I'm going to share the scripture with you all because I wasn't even sure if I should start talking about this, but I thought, well, how can I not talk about this if I'm talking about all the things that I want to talk about? So the scripture that I'm pretty sure if anybody was to come to this video about someone talking about that fast might be brought up, and I'll bring it up for us, is it's about what you should do when you fast. And one of the things that are instructed of us when we fast is for those who believe in the Bible. Moreover, when you fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, when thou fastest, anoint thy head and wash thy face, that thou appear not unto men to fast, but unto thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Now, after even reading the scripture out loud with you all, I'm hearing that this is during your fast, which I did make mistakes on. And I'll tell you guys that in a little. But during a fast, am I shouting and telling everyone? I told my therapist, of course, knew, and my partner knew. And then eventually, maybe near the very end of my water fast, then the love of my life knew. But I did not do my fast properly because here's what happened. The first 10 days, I was having it. I literally was on top of the world. I could not believe how much energy I had. I mean, things were just changing. Like, oh my goodness. Like, why haven't I done this before? What in the world? What in the world, y'all? I could not even, I was just so surprised that it was just going the way that it was going. And I kept saying, like, this is my prayer. I wanted it to get easier and easier for me. And so here's what happened. Somewhere in the middle of this, I call someone that I love dearly, and I'm talking about just life changes. I don't mention the fast, but I'm saying, I'm making changes in my life because one thing that I also did was make sure that I was walking every day, making sure I was moving my body every single day. And that's what I was speaking to. I was just saying, I'm doing this type of change where I'm walking every day. And my prayer to God was to just that it got easier and easier for me. Now, here's one of my things. So the response that I got was, well, it's not going to get easier for you. And I said, I don't want to hear that. I'm pretty sure that if I look at this Bible, I can prove my case that it can be easy, that I can have a joyful life, that I can be happy, and things can work out for me without all of the stress and the struggle. I'm sure I can make a case for it. But he says these lines, and it sits with me probably for a little bit where I'm like, I'm just so disgusted with people always thinking it has to be hard and a struggle. And this is a family member of mine anyway. And if he sees this video, I love you. And I learned so much from you. And I'll get to that point too. But when he said these words, he also mentions that what will happen is that it won't get easier, but the way that you look at it will be different. Your perspective will change. You'll have eyes like God, ears like God. And I was like, yeah, I get the perspective thing. Thank you. Okay, bye. Get off my phone. Whatever I hear, this is going to get harder. I'm so tired of this struggle thing. Get off my phone. Get off of it. I love you. Anyway, so I wanted him to get off my phone because I didn't want to hear that. And then again, I had to express this to my therapist the next week. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, why does the world want such much heartache? Why do we want to have it so hard? Can we just chill out and love one another? Can we just help one another? Can we just not make it so your burden is my burden? Can you just do your thing and I do my thing and we just collaborate and contribute? And at this point, the fast did get a little difficult. Things start to change when you're fasting in your body, you're detoxing, and then there's weird things that happen inside of your mouth, and it makes, like, I couldn't even drink water the way I wanted to drink it. And I was still in it because originally I was only going to go to 15, but I ended up doing more than that. And I actually, within this 30 days, even tried out dry fasting, which I didn't even do all of these things properly. I just was like, okay, let's just try dry fast. Let's do the Esther fast. And I'm just doing things. I'm just doing things because I honestly so excited about the detoxing, but also like, okay, this taste in my mouth is weird. All these things are going on. But when I started this fast, one of the things that was a focus to me was my body being a temple, being mindful of, how I can correct things that I've done that made it seem like my body wasn't a temple. And getting over this hurdle of feeling like I'm just stuck when it comes to making this shift in my life and understanding this happy weight. Because honestly, I feel like the weight that I have on is a lot of happy weight, even though a lot of struggle has put me in a position to like be where I was. So I'm just talking on the phone, y'all, right now. At this point, I'm just talking. If you hear, you hear. I'm so glad you're just listening to me, because I have so many things that I wanted to share. Like, I even had put a list together, and I don't think I got through number one yet. But yes, I'm supposed to be talking about my mistakes. So here are my mistakes. One, my countenance. When there's a term for it, when you fast to a certain point and your body goes into a state where it is renewing your cells and all the things, you get like a weird taste in your mouth. Sometimes you get a weird taste in your mouth. And that taste was disturbing. It was so annoying. It was, no matter how much you brush your teeth, it just wasn't doing what you needed to do. And I didn't like it. And if I didn't have that taste, I know that I could have gone even longer. But I bring this up because now my face looks like I'm upset. I'm irritable. I don't want to deal with human beings. I don't even want to see anyone's face. I just don't. I just want to go take my little walk. I just want to lay down. I want to open my Bible. I want to watch something about God online, and I just maybe want to watch something funny and just be left alone. That's all I wanted to do. And I felt so much energy, which is why I did walk every day, because I needed something to help me go to sleep. I just knew that I just needed something to help me go to sleep, which is walking in the morning and in the evening, or one or the other was just golden for me. But that was one of the things that I did wrong, was that you could tell. And so eventually I did tell love of my life, like, yeah, I was fasting. But now, life. And one of the reasons why I eventually shared this is because we go to a church, and it was announced probably like day 20 of my water fast that the church is going through what they call a corporate fast. And I've been going here, and maybe I just missed it because I wasn't as consistent maybe the year before. I just don't remember them ever announcing this during this month. And they're saying, we're doing a Daniel fast. And I said, ooh, okay. This is so interesting to me, because now I see how this is perfectly designed. I know that when it was time to stop my fast, or when I decided to stop my water fast, that I started off with a salad, but then I was like, oh, I want to eat. And that was the very wrong thing to do. And I just messed up. I messed up a lot, but I also saw how there was grace for me and how the Lord corrected things for me, even though I made those mistakes. Now, this refeeding topic is very important for anyone who decides to go on a fast. And I'm not a medical expert. I'm just a person online telling the story about her life. But if anyone was deciding to go on a fast, research and understanding all the things that you already know, all the things that people say you should do. I didn't do those things at all. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't, I did the research, but I wasn't really sure what to research. But the research started to surface as I had different things happen, and I wanted to know about it. I would have certain questions, and then it would be evident to me what went wrong or why things were happening in my body. And one of the things I learned was about this refeeding syndrome, which happens if you don't properly end your fast well, especially if you're going on a prolonged fast. And the beauty of understanding this refeeding is that it was a spiritual fast. And although it seems like the food was a little bit disconnected, it was very connected. To me, it was very connected because that was a journey I wanted to go through for my own growth. But it was connected because, food is used in the Bible. We talk about the bread of life, the bread, our daily bread, and the water of life. And the refeeding stood out to me later on because how we refeed the body. So I'm supposed to go right into a Daniel fast. If I didn't mess up on that day and prick it the way that I did, I would be going right into the Daniel fast. That refeeding would be very, very healthy for my body because now I'm refeeding not on a lot of the junk. I'm refeeding on the things that will bring life to me, the food that will bring life to me. And so, although I didn't break the first water fast before the 30-day ended correctly, I'm thankful that I was able to experience it and even experience the way I did it wrong, so that I know that going into my next fast, because this is the things that I want to adopt, is going into the next fast, how to set myself up for success. And sometimes it really is experiencing those mistakes and going through those mistakes and saying, how can I correct those? How can I make it better? What did I not understand? And then going through that process with questions. So, child, yo, I want to share a few things that came out of this phase, or I'm actually going to share, two things. One, again, was that question that my son had and that I had was, what's going on with the faith that is so light that we can't solve world peace? And even if it's not about world peace on this earth, that we can't have discussions or we can't behave in a way that is showing that we love our neighbors. Like, what's going on with our faith? Is it that we need to really try these things that we may have never tried? I've been going to church when I was younger and growing up in different pockets that said they believe in the Bible, and no one really talked about fasting. And I think that maybe it's supposed to be this thing where it's kept in secret, but we do have to start communicating and understanding what value or what can we see if we do practice these things, if we have a community to support us and talk to us about it, and we go through it with a community, or like I did with a partner. What is the value of teaming up with people who want and desire to have that faith and to see mountains be moved? What does that look like if we actually started talking about it more and then putting it into practice? And when I'm taking from that scripture about that countenance of your face and being like the hypocrite says, I honestly I didn't want to come on here and say, I did a facial, I'm so hot and mighty, I'm just the bomb, okay? Y'all can't get on my level. Like, that's not even, I messed up. I did it wrong. And I literally was really focused on the fact that, like, my weight was changing. And I think, that was exciting. And I'm not sure, if I did everything correctly. But even with all of that, my practicing or my intent to try something is probably what I would be proud of. That's what a godly boast in, because I know for sure, without a doubt, that when I was trying to do that by myself, nothing was moving. Nothing. I know without a doubt that I could not do that without God. People have done it. People who don't read the Bible, who don't believe in God, who might believe in God, but just wasn't doing the fast spiritually, but doing it for their health reasons, were able to do it. And I've seen that done. Me personally, knowing myself, I was trying, and I could not get to it. I know that the prayer and the intent is what helped me. These are our personal stories and our personal experiences. And this is one of the things that I want to tap into, is that I support people telling their personal stories and having sharing their experiences, because now when I have experiences, I'm understanding that it doesn't always resemble how people see things or even understand things about life. So for instance, someone may say, spiritual warfare, it doesn't exist, or Jesus doesn't exist, and there's no power in the name, because they might not have experienced that. But then a person who experienced that and says, yes, I mean, for me, it did. What do you do with that? When people have two different experiences and two ideologies, who do you believe? That's why our personal experiences and our personal relationships, they talk about that so much. And I don't think it really set in until I got into this grown age of what it all meant. But that personal relationship and that personal experience, that's when you can speak to what's true or not. And sometimes our personal experience are going to include other people. And so that might mess up the data when we are only focused on what people who are human and are flawed have done in our personal experiences, versus us having a desire or our intent about our relationship with God. Now, and it gets weird, because when we talk about being in cults or being brought up in a certain religion or faith, a lot of that has to do with how our parents have taught us. And so we are believing their word, we're believing their way of life. And so that's really all that we see. And so this is where I want to exercise with you all, and what you'll see on this channel, which I'm going to get to, is that I want us to start having these questions, these thoughtful questions about the things that we don't clearly understand about what was taught to us growing up, or we don't understand about our faith. And this is going to sit wherever you are. This diversity, equity, and inclusion thing with faith and religion, I understand that the average Christian or the average person who believes in the Bible will say you can't talk about other people's religion in one space. I believe that I can lead and have a framework with what I believe in. I believe in the Bible. I believe in following Christ's behavior. I can provide a framework, and then we can talk through all of our faith and our beliefs and our upcomings through questions, so we can get close to truth. And if truth is truth, no matter where it's coming from, it's going to reveal itself in our world. But the idea is, what is truth? How do we get to truth? What is your truth? What is my truth? I don't really lean into a my truth anymore, but I did lean into a my truth. Now want to know the truth. And so that means when I am talking about something that's totally against what I believe in, or I have content, or am I exposed to something that's against what I believe, my goal is to have questions and see how does it contradict, how does it support, how does it not support what ultimately should be done in the land for us to experience God through one another. Not sure if that makes sense. Hopefully, if y'all come back, it will start to make sense, because I want to break it down. Because we're going to just start having Bible studies. And I'm having Bible study really with myself, and I'm having it out loud with you all. And I'm going to present to you all questions and just my processing of going through Bible study, and going through Bible study with the idea that there's so many different concepts and religions and battles and disputes out here. How do I approach those things? And how can you use that same framework when it relates to anything that you are experiencing in the spiritual world, or in the physical world that you're battling with? And I'll be sharing just what has been helpful for me as my story, and then you can share what's been helpful to you and your story to other people. Now, I know this might get a little weird, and people might not even stay here because of the way this is designed, and I might not even get it to lean on the way that I want it to. Like, we're all just at different places and we're sharing our things, and you say your thing is true and I say my thing is true. I want us to know what our truth is. Oops, Mike, don't mess up, Mike. I want us to all know what we believe is true. I want us to start with that and then work our way work our way through that truth with authentic questions and authentic answers. This means that even if the answer doesn't fit what we think it should or how we feel it should, is it true? Is it pure? And I know that's going to be a task, but let's go on the assignment together. I want us to go on this assignment together. Most of this is I am using the Bible. So if you don't believe in the Bible, you might not have fun here. If you believe in something else, but you want to just add a different perspective, I welcome you here, because I also want to hear that different perspective, so I can also add that to my form of thinking of, okay, if a person thinks this and I think this, where is one that we connect, or why is there a disconnect, and is there more of a connection than there is a disconnection? Okay. All right. So I want to tell you why I want to do these Bible studies, because when I was in the midst of this fast and doing all the things wrong and messing stuff up, I ended up in this church because my son had a basketball practice and I had to stay around. And for some reason, the basketball practice is like near church. So for some reason, I just want to walk into the church, y'all. And I want to ask them if they have a Bible study. Now, what's so interesting about where I live now in the state, or maybe in a couple of cities around me and the ones I visit, people don't have Wednesday Bible studies like they do where I originally came from. And like, where are the Wednesday Bible studies? People aren't having Wednesday Bible studies, and they probably do somewhere. It's just that the ones that I've been going to just don't have it. They just don't have it. They usually have it for the youth, but they're not having an adult Bible study, or they're not studying. And this has been a big deal for me, because when I was younger, Bible study has been very important to me, because I was in high school Bible study and I felt like they were too silly. And I was just like, we need to get to the word. Like, it could go on a high school level. So I thought I could go through the adult Bible study that they were having. And I feel like I was just so passionate about this. Like, I was taking it so seriously. It was more important to me than schoolwork. I was get creative with things. I liked it a lot. And of course, I did all the things where I'm teaching the younger children about the curriculum that we had. And I've had questions about those, and we'll talk about that later. But I just wanted to go to a place that was studying the Bible. And so I ended up there because my desire was like, I need to go to a place to study the Bible. So I ended up in a place where I call it a cult now. I call it a cult. But when I end up in this place, they study the Bible so hard, so rough, so right? That, I mean, you come out knowing the Bible. You come out reading okay? And although I ended that experience, I see now, even through this fast, that like this Bible study desire thing for me is just on a high. I'm interested, okay? I want to know all the things that you guys are talking about. I want to know why I don't see it in the Bible. I want to know why you have it this way, or why you're going back into the history this way, and why you think it's that way, and why you guys have. I want to know it all, because this is the most interesting book in the world to me. So boom, bam, bam. I end up going into this church, and I walk into the church, and I say, "Do you guys know Wednesday Bible study?" And they say no, and someone goes to another person, and then they say, like, do you know we have it? We'll check. And they say, no, we don't have it. We do have the youth one. We might start it for adults in the fall. And I'm like, okay. So I end up just sitting, because the church just seems very like open, and people could just be in there. So I said, I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to sit here quietly until the basketball practice is over. And a young lady, she walks over to me and she says, I know that you were talking about the Bible study earlier. We don't have it, but I would love to read my Bible. Do you want to read it with me? And I said, yeah. Let's do this. Let's read the Bible. Like, oh my goodness, I'm so pumped. I am so excited. So as I'm getting so excited, she pretty much allows me to just kind of like lead it. Like, I don't know, like she just like, well, what do you want to read? Or, how you want to do this? I said, well, let's read the book of Habakkuk. Let's just read that. And then from there, we'll just start to talk about what stood out to us, what questions we have, and anything that we can provide to one another as insight. And so it was kind of awkward in the beginning because I didn't know if we were going to read it together. We were going to read it quietly to ourselves. And so we read it quietly to ourselves. And then I guess we just kind of guessed that we were both done. And so I just felt so passionate. Like I was just like, just boom and bam, like just this was da-da-da-da. And I was more, I look at the Bible and I'm looking at it as like, you know, relating it to my life and applying it to my life. I am that type of person. And she had a very historical background because she liked to look at the history of the Bible and knew all of the things about the minor prophets and things. And I just thought that was just so cool to me. Like, how do you even get there when you start getting to the history? When people start to break down the Bible and they're intimidated about it, because there's so many different things happening that's not even in the Bible itself that people are breaking out from these other sources and saying, hey, this is how we know Paul did this, or this is how this person did this. And I'm like, that's not, I don't see that in the word though. Why they don't have that right there in the word? Like, why is not there? Why is it in a secret place somewhere in a school? So anyway, I just find it fascinating that she was interested and she did her own study about it. So the cool part about this, guys, is that we are sitting there and there's a woman that walked past us and she says, do you guys know where the adult Bible study is? And we're like, ha ha ha, because we're like, there is no adult Bible study, but we're like, we're having Bible study right here. And so she comes over and she sits down with us and it was these are the type of things that just make me go, this is wonderful. So she is saying that, am I getting too loud? Okay. Shh. She is saying that she needed a Bible study and she's coming from like 2 hours away and she's talking about all these things that she's doing. I think she was a missionary or she's going to be going on a missionary trip to Tanzania, and where she's living right now is kind of preparing her because like the water is weird. And anyway, like she's adding some value to the Bible study. We're all just like in this. And I'm just sitting here like, we're in this Bible study. Like we're in here. Like it felt so good. When I left that Bible study, I felt so full. Like it's so weird to even describe, but I felt so full. Like I'm not eating. At this point, actually, before this day, I couldn't even keep down water because my body was detoxing. Okay. My body was detoxing and like I just didn't even want the water because I would feel like, okay. But like I'm sitting here and I'm like, we're going through this together and I'm just so happy. I'm so happy for so many reasons. And I'm like, wow, like God is so beautiful. Okay. It was okay. So then we're in the Bible study and like she's really just saying how like she came from this place, and the other young lady, she's talking about like just how she desired how it used to be this way when we used to kind of just get together and read the Bible. And it's time for me to get my son. So I'm all like, okay, let's pray out. You guys want to pray out? Like I'm just like orchestrating it all. Like I'm just in my zone. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling righteous. Okay. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to pray out because I'm already late for my son. In my head, I said that because it was a wonderful experience, but I also was late for my son. So as we pray out, the young lady, she pulls out this Tanzania money and she gives us each one. And it's like $1 worth or $2 worth. And I'm like, I'm holding it and I'm like remembering something that someone told me about taking things during a fast. And these are like one of these concepts of like, where do people adapt it from? Like, how do I know? But I knew that I just needed to take it. And it was a part of this experience for me that I wanted to hold on to. And I left. And I probably should have got their number. I probably should have did all the things, but something in my body was just, this was what it was. Like, this was just what it was. I leave and I have the $1 and like I put it on somewhere in my room and my children are all like, what's this? And then my child takes a picture of it and there's some app that you can see the value of the money. And I think the value of the money wasn't even $1. It was like worth nothing. And I literally was just like, oh, how beautiful is it that this piece of paper is worth nothing, but it's worth everything to me right now. It was worth nothing. And I think about all of the things that we even desire in this world when it comes to the the love of money, or the fame, or whatever it is that we desire, how it's really worth nothing. And the value that comes out of any of these things, for me and my experience, is what God plants in it. So that Tanzania dollar that was really worth nothing was worth something to me, because it gave me an understanding of what I was supposed to do. Like, what am I at least supposed to explore? And so I'm almost there, yo. And it's this Bible study thing, okay? And it's through here, and it's here on YouTube, because through my experiences, through all of my different journeying, I have used the stories and experiences of people, everyday people, sharing their testimonials, or sharing their knowledge, or sharing just their perspective on YouTube. And it's been both a gift and a learning tool. And it's been a learning tool, especially when I come across content that I might not support, or have questions about, or find just distasteful, and as a part of this whole spiritual thing. And I'm talking about people who say that they identify with the Bible and read it, and some of that content has been very like, y'all get on my nerves and y'all make my head hurt. But at the same time, I've been able to learn why I feel why I feel that way. And so I want to be a resource on YouTube where we can come. I'm just going to share what I'm interested in that day, what I want to read, what I want to talk about, what questions I have, and extend it to you all to maybe relate. Maybe you're not into the Bible. Maybe you're not into these stories or these perspectives, but you do want to add to the conversation, because it is the diversity of thought on why one person believes this way and why another person believes this way that I'm very much interested in. And so I do want to invite people who might not even ever click on this video because I said fasting, right? Hopefully the people who are supposed to be here will come here, and they will be able to explore this with me when we read something and we have questions, and how does it apply to our life, and even sometimes what are people saying about it, and what sincere questions or feelings do we have about it. I think these are things that we need to explore, because sometimes it is not always about how we feel. They will tell us we're not supposed to feel, and it is what it is. But I don't think that these thoughts and that these feelings, they come by accident. We might be corrected in those. We might be able to adopt a better way of listening and consuming. But it's the process that I'm here for. I'm here for that process of actually studying and seeing, do we not believe this because we didn't apply it? Do we not believe this because someone did something harmful to us that as a person? Did we not believe it because we did not, structure a prayer? One thing that I've noticed is for myself is I'll think that I'm praying, but I don't actually intentionally pray. And once I do the intentional prayer, I do see how I'm missing the power of it. Okay. So I think I'm almost done. I'm just going to look at my notes here, because there was a lot of things that I wanted to share. Mostly that I went through a fast for 30 days. I was able to get through this fast because God was able to reveal to me that there was a partner who was willing, and I'm so thankful for that partner. And I was able to also see that I do see myself in ministry where I am intentionally going through the process of studying the Bible with people who also have questions like me, who don't want to avoid conversation, but desire a healthier relationship and an authentic relationship through questions and answers, and even exploring what is it that we're taking in from other people that causes the friction. I want us to go through all of those things, and that might look different from day to day. And I also want to tap into this pursuit of peace with the content, where most of the content that we're consuming is like, oh, we gotta be afraid and scared and Like, well, there's other parts of the Bible that say that we can pursue peace, that there is a joy, that there is treasure, okay? If we seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, all these things will be added unto us. What are the things? And a lot of people have different perspectives. So I do not see myself as an expert. If you decide to watch me expose my lack of knowledge, but with the intent of getting more knowledge, but the right knowledge, I am just exposing myself and invite you all to put yourself in a position to have thoughtful questions, to have questions that don't lean on the people, but lean on you trying your best to get closer to what it is that you want. Most of this is going to be content as a spiritual journey. And sometimes I'm going to have fun and I'm going to laugh. And I might do a review of a show about love because I really do want to focus on love in all the different capacity. I want to focus on some of this love and relationship topics because it all goes back into this theme that we see. Do we have enough space and room for love? Do we have enough time to love one another? Do we have enough in us to give it out? Okay. But I'm going to stop it there because I've been talking for a long time. Okay. And give me your feedback. Tell me about your relationship with fasting. Tell me about your idea of fasting and prayer combination. What's your thoughts on people sharing about their fasting and why? Do you think that we need to be more instructional on this journey, and do we have to practice more of what we want to see? They say practice what you preach, right? If I think one of the things I might preach here is the words are weird, but the idea when they say practice what you preach. I'm not saying I'm a preacher because I have no desire, but I am interested in practicing things that are preached. I am interested in practicing things that are showing the behavior of Christ. I am interested in seeing what that looks like if we look at it from different angles, what we might be missing. Why is it all so confusing? Why does it seem like there's an elite understanding of the Bible? And if we're just going to go through all the things. So until next time, I just want to say that I am a work in progress and I don't imagine to have it all together for people. So do not come to this channel with the idea of me teaching you. Come to this channel with the idea of you exploring with me and you being a critical thinker and an intentional thinker and putting yourself in a position to ask quality questions. That's what I want to do here. I want to just go through those questions and I want to figure out just the beauty that we can experience here on earth. Like, is it something that we can tap into? If not, I still want to pursue it. I think it's a better use of my time to pursue that peace than it is to pursue the exhaustion that comes with disputing and arguing or boasting myself or all the things that seem like they feel good, but they're not, to me at least. And I just also just want to share that these are the type of things that excite me. I don't claim to be righteous and have it all together, but I think that the idea of like trying to figure out what that looks like out is the coolest thing, and I can't help it that I like it. And one of the things that was going to stop me here is that like people aren't interested in this. It doesn't seem like it, at least. So I'm gonna feel so like, oh, she's the Bible, like, oh, it's like, okay, I like it. Okay, I just like it here. I like it, and I don't, and I'm not the person that has it, figured out. There are things that I'm still, absorbing. There are things that I'm still upset about. There's things that I don't like, but most of me has a high interest, and I'm sharing that interest with you guys, just like people share their interest in slime on YouTube. So, okay, until next time, hold on to you as much as you can. Hold on to your health, your well-being, and your mind. Be mindful. Bye.